Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्तराधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we will start our discussion from where we left. This is the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sloka number 6 onwards. Manduratma manastasya yenatmaivatmana jitah atma anatmanastu shatrutve vartetha maiva shatruvat. For him who has conquered the mind is the best friend. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So this is something similar to the yesterday's sloka, what we were reading. So one who has conquered his mind, the mind is the best friend, and one who has failed to do so, the mind is the worst enemy. Right? Okay, purport. The purpose of practicing eightfold yoga is to control the mind in order to make it a friend in discharging the human mission. So yesterday we discussed in terms of Atma, when it is the word Atma is used, it is translated as mind here. So why it is so? Because we are in the section of the Dhyana Yoga, and the primary thing that the primary object that we are trying to control is mind, or the focus. The primary focus is on the mind. So the word Atma here refers to mind, right? And then here the purpose of eightfold yoga system is to control the mind, so that it can help us in attaining our mission, Krishna consciousness. Okay. Unless the mind is controlled, the practice of yoga for show is simply a waste of time. One who cannot control his mind lives always with the greatest enemy, and thus his life and its mission are spoiled. This we can actually see that the mind always keeps us, keeps giving us some goals that we need to achieve, and then the mind will keep driving us towards that goal. And once we see that that goal is not very great and things like that, it will keep changing and it will keep inducing us for different goals. And no ultimately, if we just sit down and see, if we would have listed down all the goals that the mind had given to us since the beginning, so we will see that it's all cheating. And right now the goal that the mind is giving may appear like this is the best thing that I can have in the entire creation, but actually that is also cheating. After some time, we will get to know. So, like as it was before, like in the childhood, like we would have been running behind some toys, and then later on we would have been running behind something else, and like this every time, every point in time in our life, the mind had driven us crazy behind something, which is irrelevant to us right now, which is not at all needed for us right now. But then the mind has always been driving us crazy behind something, right? So this is the worst enemy. He just convinces us at every point that this is what you have to go for, this is what you have to go for. And for that moment, that appears to be really very great. We have to go for it. So, but then actually speaking, it's another form of cheating. After some time, the thing that we are running behind will not have any relevance to us, right? As it always been. Okay, so it's the without control of mind, it's a waste of time. And then, if we are not controlling the mind, we are living with the greatest enemy. That is the thing that is mentioned here. Okay, so the constitutional position of living entity is to carry out the order of the superior. As long as one's mind remains unconquered enemy, one has to serve the dictations of lust, anger, avarice, illusion, etc. So, like, we are naturally designed in such a way that, the constitutional position of living entity is to carry out the order of superior. So always we need to have some superior, and we will follow that order of superior. If we don't have a Krishna conscious superior, we will have these superiors. Who are they? Lust, anger, avarice, illusion, and things like that, right? So kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, and matsarya. So they are also masters. So if we are not there under the care of a spiritual master, so we will be there under the care of these materialistic masters. कामादीनां कथिना कथिता पालिता दुर्निदेशस तेषां जातमयि न करुणा न कृपा नोपशान्ति उत्सृज्येता न ते यदुपथे साम्प्रतं यद् लब्धबुद्धिस्त्वामायतां शरणं abhayam mam ning swatmadashe. So in this shloka, it is very nicely mentioned. It is cited in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it is says that kamadinam. So this lust, anger, greed, envies, things like that. All these I had accepted as masters, all of them, and then I had been serving them very, very nicely for so much long time. They have never been satisfied with my service, and they have never been merciful towards me. They have always asked for more and more and more. They have never been satisfied with me. So, and then, like Utsra Jaitanata Yadupate Sampratam Labda Buddhis. Just somehow, recently I could able to get to this Krishna consciousness, and I could able to take shelter of Yadupati, the Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then, I could able to take shelter of him, and that is kind of giving me abhayam. And no, I just want to continue in the service of Krishna. I don't want to get back to these, like, ruthless masters who are lust, anger, greed, envy, and things like that, right? Okay. So but when the mind is conquered, one voluntarily agrees to abide the dictations of the personality of Godhead, who is situated within the heart of everyone as Paramatma. Real yoga practice entails meeting the Paramatma within the heart and then following his dictation. For one who takes to Krishna consciousness directly, perfect surrender to dictation of the Lord follows automatically, right? So if we are practicing Krishna consciousness, automatically we will get to the point where we will be completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord. Text 7. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitah shitoshna sukha dukkeshu tata manopamanayoha. Okay, for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. For to such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Right? So here we see that, no, this one who has conquered the mind, no, for him the super soul is reached. No, that means between us and the Lord, what is there? No, our mind which is contaminated, right? So if the contamination of the mind is removed, so then immediately, no, we'll be able to access the super soul, right? And to such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. That means nothing can potentially disturb this person. Anything can happen around him, but he can never be disturbed. No, that's the state of this one. So if somebody has conquered his mind, so that means nothing can disturb him. Okay, purport. Actually, every living entity is intended to abide by the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. When the mind is misled by the external illusory energy, one becomes entangled in material activities. Therefore, as soon as one's mind is controlled through one of the yoga systems, one should be considered to have already reached the destination. One has to abide by superior dictation. When one's mind is fixed on the superior nature, he has no alternative but to follow the dictation of the Supreme. So, if he is fixed in Krishna consciousness, then he'll be following the dictation of the Supreme Lord. So, the mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of the Paramatma or super soul. It's as we saw in the previous sloka that if we don't control our mind, so then we are going to accept the lust, anger, greed, envy, pride as our masters, and we will serve them. And if we take up to Krishna consciousness, we will accept the Paramatma or the super soul or the spiritual master, who's the external representation of the Supreme Lord. So we will take their dictation and we will follow it, right? So we must follow somebody. Either we must follow mind or we must follow the spiritual master or the Supreme Lord. Okay. So the mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of the Paramatma or Super Soul. Because this transcendental position is at once achieved by one who is in Krishna consciousness, the devotee of the Lord is unaffected by the dualities of material existence, namely distress and happiness, cold and heat, etc. This state is called samadhi or absorption in the Supreme. Okay. Text 8. Jnana vijnana triptatma kutastho vijitendriya yukta iti uchyate yogi samalostra kanchanaha. Lostra. No, this is means dirt or garbage. And jnana vijnana triptatma. So he's like completely satisfied. Hmm. And then kutasto vijitendriya. So he's vijitendriya means like he's conquered his senses. Yukta yukta iti uchyate yogi. Like who's a yogi? The definition iti uchyate yogi means like such a person is called a yogi. And samalostra sha kanchanaha. So he has kanchana means gold and lostra means dirt or a garbage. No, for him like both garbage and a stone, garbage and a gold is of same value. He doesn't have, means he has attained such a kind of like state that he doesn't have any differentiation between these things. Okay, a person is said to be established in self realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Let's see this translation again. The person is said to be established in self realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. So here the yogi is not defined as somebody who can show some magic. No, that's not the definition that is given. It is mentioned when he is fully satisfied by the virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. A deep sense of satisfaction is there in him. He's not hankering for anything or he's not disturbed by anything, right? So such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. No, for him, it's all the same. It's all the matter. Purport: book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. This is stated as follows: Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indraihi sevon mukho hi jivodo swayam eva spuratyada. So it's very, very important point Prabhupada is mentioning. Book knowledge without realization of supreme truth is useless. So we cannot just have theoretical knowledge. So then what we should do? Sevan mukhohi. No, like we can only understand the Lord by Sevan mukha. No, that means through the process of service and humbly begging the Lord that he may reveal himself to us. By the way of service, we will be able to access him. By bookish knowledge, we will not be able to access him. Right? So Atha Shri Krishna Namadi. So Shri Krishna Nama Adi means the name, form, qualities, pastimes, and all these aspects of the Lord. So they are na bhavet grahyam indriyahi. So we will not be able to understand or we will not be able to digest the topics about the holy name, the pastimes, the qualities, and all these attributes of the Lord. So they cannot be understood by indriya, the senses. Sevan mukhe hi jivado, like by the service, starting from tongue. The tongue can be used for chanting the names of the Lord, and it can be used for taking prashadam of the Lord. And jivado, that means again it is adi. Adi means it's a beginning item of a list. So tongue, eyes, ears, all the senses, everything has to be used in service of the Lord. But the primary thing, where to start with? No, start with the tongue. No, the tongue has to be used for chanting the names of Lord, and then tasting Krishna Prasad, right? So when we do this thing, when we do this service to the Lord, then what happens? Swayam eva spuratyada. No, the Lord will manifest automatically. Swayam eva. It cannot be done. No, exclusively it is Swayam eva spuratyada. I cannot force the Lord to appear before me. I cannot forcibly understand the Lord if the Lord doesn't want to reveal himself. Right? So Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavrita. So Krishna mentions that no, I am not revealed to everyone. No, I cover myself with the Yogamaya curtain. And here it is mentioned, Swayam eva spuratyada. So the Lord will, no, the Lord's name, form, pastimes, and things like that, they are not different from each other. They are not different from the Supreme Lord. And we cannot force them. No, I cannot say that today I will chant and I will be able to chant Pakka. No. So it's not, we cannot challenge like that because it is Swayam eva spuratyada. It's Lord's blessings upon us, right? So we have to render service, and pleased by our service, the Lord will manifest. And some days, like we are too proud that I'll be able to chant very nicely, the Lord will just pull the plug off and we'll not be able to chant at all. No, we'll have so much of sleep, or we'll have so much of mind wandering and things like that. So Lord can actually do this thing. So we should be very very humble in front of the Lord, in front of the holy name, in front of the topics discussed about the Lord, in front of the book, the Bhagavad Gita, which is not different from Krishna. So we should be very, very humble when we approach. We should not think that now I'll read and understand Bhagavad Gita. It is in my capacity. No, it is Swayam eva spuratyada, right? So it has to be revealed by the Lord. No, He can reveal no Himself, and it is on His will, right? So we are only approaching the Lord and petitioning Him and rendering service unto Him. And if the Lord is pleased, no, He is Swayam eva spuratyada, right? Okay, no one can understand the transcendental nature of name, form, quality, and pastimes, Nam Adi, right, of Krishna, Sri Krishna, through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him, right? So this Bhagavad Gita is the signs of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. A Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna because he is satisfied with pure devotional service. So this is a nice thing. So this Bhagavad Gita, the science of Krishna consciousness, no one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. So no one can just take a book and read and then get some this one. And one must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. So now we see we are distributing books, and then the books only it is written that nobody can just become Krishna conscious just by reading a book. No. So what's the point of reading a book? So if somebody sincerely reads this book and sincerely reads this line that one must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness, he will search for it. So it will trigger the point of Krishna consciousness in them, right? So in that way, like these books are very potent, and they are getting the association of Srila Prabhupada in the form of his purports, and that is also great. So they will get this association. Okay, a Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna. So, whatever knowledge we have acquired, we should not think that it is my property. It is just the grace of Krishna, right? So, it's just the mercy of Lord upon us. And the moment we become proud, Lord can actually pull it off. No, we will become again back to normal, back to square one, right? So, we should never become proud of our whatever things that we achieve in Krishna consciousness. We should always think this is grace of Krishna, right? Because he is satisfied with pure devotional service. If he is satisfied with our endeavors and our sincerity, then he will award no mercy upon us, right? By realized knowledge one become perfect. By transcendental knowledge one can remain steady in his convictions, but by mere academic knowledge one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradictions, right? So it is realized, uh, it is the realized soul who is actually self-controlled because he is surrendered to Krishna. He is transcendental because he has nothing to do with mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship and mental speculation, which may be as good as gold to others, are of no greater value than pebbles and stones. So that means like all those things which the people of this world actually cherish, so as very important. Now, for a Krishna conscious person, it doesn't matter at all. Like for example, some of our devotees, they were when they were joining ashram, so they were going and giving up their high paid jobs and things like that and all. So that time people say like, no, what, you have gone crazy or what? Like people are looking for jobs and you're giving up. So then the devotee says it's some things, and then they come out. And sometimes in the ashram we also discuss this thing. So what the people outside, they have so much value for, a devotee is like, it doesn't have much value for them, right? So this is this one, like for him, it is all the same, the gold, pebble, or stones. No, it is all the same. So he doesn't have too much attraction to any particular material objects. No, if he is attracted to something, or he wants some material objects, only if it is if it is of some use to him in service of Krishna. Otherwise, he doesn't hanker to have it. Okay, this is text 9. सुहृन्मित्राद् उदासीन मध्यस्तद्वेषबन्धुषु साध साधुष्वपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते. Okay. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. So this is one thing we see: Suhran, Mitra, Udasina, Madhyastha, Dveshi, Bandhu. And like one time, I had to give on this topic of friendship. So there are like various qualities that a pure devotee of the Lord, he manifests in himself. So I had to prepare on a topic called friendship. So that time I had used this Sloka. So here we see in English we have only one word, friendship. So but then in Sanskrit, we see that Suhrin, Mitra, Bandhu. No, like there are so many different words are there. Udasin means like it's a neutral kind of a relationship, and no, Madhyastha is like some kind of a friend is kind of mediating between two people. So no, Suhrin means like Suhrida. Hrida means like it's heart. Somebody who's very close to the heart. No, it's called Suhrin. And then Mitra is one of the words for the friend, and then Bandhu is also one of the words for the friend. So it's like, no, these are different different kinds of people. So but then anyways, here it talks about the wide spectrum of relationship that we may have with anybody. No, it's about the intimacy, and also the dvesha, or the hatred, we may have. So it can be ranging from suhrin to dveshi, like so much of somebody we hate and somebody we like them the most. And all these people, a sadhu api chapapeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. So he has a samabuddhi with all of them. So it's not that somebody is dveshi, so I will also think something bad for him. Or somebody is my very very close friend, I'll have some special privilege for him. And then somebody who's a dveshi, like, no, I will try to harm him or hurt him. So he will be naturally trying to do something good for everyone. He, for him, everyone is the same. You may act in a particular way towards me, you may want to hurt me or harm me, but it is my nature to do something good. So that's how the sadhu is. So this is the nature, this is the way the sadhu actually sees. He doesn't want to see anyone from a bad vision, right? So here it's translation again. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral, the mediators, envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with equal mind, right? So he has an equal mind towards everyone, right? So now this thing we can experience in book distribution. So when we go out for book distribution, we don't see like who's who. So we just distribute books to everyone. So that this kind of this one state we can actually experience if we are very seasoned book distributors. So then we will be eager to give the mercy of the Lord to everyone. Okay, text 10. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitah ekaki yata chittatma nirashir aparigraha. So a transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Okay. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desire and feelings of possessiveness. So we had been tracing this point of any yoga system means to give up the enjoying the fruits of one's activity, and it's in another way it's mentioned here. Giving up the like feelings of possessiveness, right? So that's also another way of putting it the same point. So we will see that this point is there in every single chapter, because this is something very basic. Until unless we give up the attachment to the fruits of our activities, it is not possible for us to do any yoga practice. And here we see that um, always engaging the mind, body, and the self in relationship with Supreme. So this is one of the things that a yogi does, and he doesn't want to put his mind, body, and intelligence or the self in any of the material things. And then he should live alone in a secluded place. This means that he should not mingle with those people whose minds are not controlled, because he is trying to control his mind, and he doesn't want to spoil his mind by getting along with people who are whose minds are disturbed. So he generally avoids them. And then he should always carefully control his mind. That's his main business. And then giving up material desires and feelings of possessiveness. Okay. Purport: Krishna is realized in different degrees as Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna consciousness means concisely to be always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, very important point to note. It is not just, no, sometime I am Krishna conscious. It's just maybe 2, 3 hours in a day I am Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness means to be always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord. So whatever I do, sleep, in the sixth chapter itself, it will be described. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta chetasa karmashu, yukta swapnava bodhasya. Krishna talks about sleep also. Like even sleep, a devotee does it as service to Krishna. Whatever way Krishna says, I will sleep in that way only. Whatever way Krishna asks me to work, I'll work in that way only. And whatever I do, it's all based on the instructions and directions given by Krishna, so that he is Krishna conscious, always Krishna conscious, and always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Right. So, but those who are attracted to the impersonal Brahman or localized super soul are also partially Krishna conscious, because the impersonal Brahman is the spiritual ray of Krishna, and super soul is the all pervading partial expansion of Krishna. So we had discussed this quite a number of times, that this the impersonal Brahman, it talks or it actually highlights the aspect of sat feature of the Lord, eternity feature of the Lord, that the Lord exists everywhere, and no, he is eternal. No, that's the feature of the Lord we can actually perceive in the impersonal Brahman. And then the Paramatma is little more functional aspects. The Lord is the maintainer. No, he is maintaining everything. He is supplying all the needs and necessities of all living entities. He is directing the wanderings of all living entities, and he gives the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudani maya. So all these kind of features, it's more of functional in nature. So those people who look at the Lord as that, no, he is the supplier. No, eko bohunam yo vidadati kaman. So he is the one who is supplying all the needs and necessities of my existence, and he's providing me air, he's providing me food, he's providing everything, and then he's managing this world so nicely. And like it's kind of a manager kind of a outlook. So that's super soul. So that's the realization of the super soul. And the Bhagavan aspect means he's a lovable person. So the Supreme Lord in his complete form is understood when he is understood as a person who has some likes and dislikes. no, like if you see the Brahman aspect and Paramatma aspect, they would not go to the Lord and say that, no, what do you like? No, I want to offer you something. So that they will not do. They will just go and worship the Lord. And at the end of it, like if the Lord appears to them, he'll they'll say that, no, we want to become merged with you, or no, we want this facility, that facility, and things like that. So it's all about their personal this one. No, they are not thinking about Lord as a person. No, Lord as a person, Lord has also some likes and dislikes. What would he like? So that is something a devotee, he does. So if we are not a devotee, if we are having Brahman realization or Paramatma realization, so then we are partially Krishna conscious. No, we understand Sat feature, and we understand the Chit feature of the Lord. We don't understand the Ananda feature of the Lord, right? So that is he is also a blissful personality, right? Okay. Thus, the impersonalist and the meditator, so that means those who are aiming at Brahman and those who are aiming at Paramatma, are also indirectly Krishna conscious. No, they are also indirectly Krishna conscious. A directly Krishna conscious person is the topmost transcendentalist, because such a devotee knows what is meant by Brahman and Paramatma. Right. So, like, if we have, it's like if we have a superset, no, all other subsets are included automatically. So Brahman and Paramatma are subsets of the Bhagavan realization. So directly Krishna conscious person, he is on the Bhagavan realization, the topmost realization, and for him, he knows what is Brahman, what is Paramatma. So it's just a subset. Okay, his knowledge of the absolute truth is perfect, whereas the impersonalist and meditative yogi are imperfectly Krishna conscious, because they understood only a portion of Krishna. They have not understood everything about Krishna. Nevertheless, all these are instructed herewith to be constantly engaged in their particular pursuits, so that they may come to the higher perfection sooner or later. Hmm. So, if somebody is attracted to the impersonal form or the Paramatma form of the Lord, so then still, when they study all these things, then they may get association of some devotees later on, and they may come to the highest perfection, sooner or later. Okay, the first business of a transcendentalist is to keep the mind always on Krishna. One should always think of Krishna and not forget him even for a moment. Right? Smartavyam satatam Vishnu, vismartavyam na jatuchit. Sarve vidhi nishedashur etayor eva kinkaro. Right? So this is the goal of all the vidhi and nished, all the do's and don'ts of the scriptures. So this is the goal of it. Sarve vidhi nishedashur etayor eva kinkara. So there is one major rule is there, and all other rules and regulations are no servant, no kinkara means servant of this one rule. So what is that? Smartavyam satatam Vishnu. Always remember no Vishnu or Krishna. And vismartavyam, no, that is like to forget. Na jatuchit. So never we should forget, even for a moment. No, that is called Krishna consciousness. Right? Concentration of the mind on Supreme is called samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in seclusion and avoid disturbance by external objects. So, living amongst devotees is also called as seclusion. No, so we are secluded from the rest of the world, right? So that's also called seclusion. And then he should be very careful to accept favorable and reject unfavorable conditions that affect his realizations. No, so this is anukulyasya sankalpa and pratikulyasya varjanam. And in perfect determination, he should not hanker after unnecessary material things that entangle him by feelings of possessiveness. So if there is something unnecessary, or which is creating some disturbance in the Krishna consciousness, immediately he should leave it. That's the instruction that is given. All these perfections and precautions are perfectly executed when one is directly in Krishna consciousness, because direct Krishna consciousness means self abnegation, uh, wherein there is a very little chance for material possessiveness. So, no, yeah, we see that the yogis, they have to give up a lot of things. No, they have to give up eating some nice food. They have to give up living in a nice way. They have to physically put them into a lot of austerity and things like that. So, but then a Krishna conscious person, he's doing everything in relation with Krishna. He's offering nice foodstuffs to Krishna, and he's taking nice prasad, right? So, and it's automatically like no, everything that is involved is is directly in service of the Lord. So if he is offering some nice worship to the Lord and nice place to worship to the Lord, so then automatically the devotee will also stay there, to worship the Lord. So then he gets to stay in a nice place. So but then no, he is not doing it for himself. He is keeping Krishna in the center. So when Krishna is there in the center, automatically all the like control, the sense control will automatically happen, right? Okay, Srila Rupa Goswami characterizes Krishna consciousness in this way. Anashaktasya Vishayan. Vishayan means material objects, and Ashakta means attachment. So Anashakta means without having attachment to the material objects. Yatarham Upayunjata. So like using them in the as it is needed. And Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. By by knowing every object's relationship with Krishna and using it appropriately in Krishna service, Yuktam Vairagyam Uchate. So this is also renunciation, right? So this is in fact the highest form of renunciation. So if some material object is disturbing us, so that's I'm just giving it up. That's one form of renunciation. But if I'm using that material object, knowing that the master of this object is Krishna, and I'm using this material object in service of Krishna, so then it becomes higher form of renunciation. No, he is able to use it in service of the Lord. And then prapanchikataya budhya hari sambandhi vastunah. So prapanchikataya budhya means like having a material intelligence. Prapanchikataya budhya hari sambandhi vastunah. So every vastu is basically Krishna's energy. No, bhumi rapo anala vayo kamano buddhi revacha. Right. So he says, Krishna says that everything, earth, water, fire, air, ether, everything is my energy. And then basically any transformations which are made out of these, they are also hari sambandhi vastu. So and then mumuksha bhi parityaho. So like thinking that this is no, I have to give it up. So if somebody is giving it up like that, so then he is prapanchikataya buddhya. So he is material intelligence. No, why he is called as material intelligence? Because he is not able to see an object's connection with Krishna. He is thinking that this object is something different from Krishna. So then he is not able to use that particular object in Krishna's service. So that is his material intelligence. And because of material intelligence, he is giving up a Hari Sambandhi Vastu, like a Vastu which is related to Hari. No, he is giving it up, saying that, oh, this is not you, this is useless in service of the Lord. No, then such a person is called Vairagyam Falgu Katyate. No, such a Vairagyam is called Falgu Vairagyam. So Falgu Vairagyam means what? We have discussed this, that Falgu is a river in North India somewhere. So there, the river, it appears like a normal land, and then if you dig a little bit, the water will be flowing just beneath. So Falgu Vairagyam means externally he's given up everything, but if you dig a little bit inside his heart, there is so much of sense gratification, buried inside. So because he's not able to see every object in relation to Krishna, he should, if he renounces things, he'll become a Falgu Vairagi. If he's not able to relate things with Krishna, then he should be engaged in Karma Yoga, where he's regulating his senses, and he should be engaged in like Karma Yoga practice, and he should not be allowed to take Vairagya or Sannyas. So Sannyas is only for a person who can see every object in relation to Krishna, right? So that's a person like who can actually practice Vairagya. No, other people cannot practice Vairagya properly. Okay, so when one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. Right? A Krishna conscious person well knows that everything belongs to Krishna, and thus he is always free from feelings of possession. As such, he has no hankering for anything on his own personal account. He knows how to accept things in favor of Krishna, in Krishna consciousness, and how to reject unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. He is always aloof from material things because he is always transcendental, and he is always alone, having nothing to do with persons not in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness is the perfect yogi. Okay. Text 11 and 12. Saucho deshe pratishtapya stiram asanam atmanah Nati uchritam, uchritam, right? Nati uchritam, nati nicham, chai, chailan, chailajina, uh, kushottaram, tatraikhavam manakritva, yata chittendriya kriyah, upavishyasane, yunjad, yogamatma vishuddhaye. Okay, to practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities, and fixing the mind on one point. No, so here we see like this practice of Ashtanga yoga also. It cannot be practiced in city. He has to go to a secluded place first. So it's not possible practically, right? Purport: Sacred place refers to places of pilgrimage. In India, the yogis, the transcendentalists, or the devotees all leave home and reside in sacred places such as Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, and Haridwar, and in solitude practice yoga, where the sacred rivers like Yamuna and Ganges flow. But often this is not possible, especially for Westerners. The so called yoga societies in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for actual practice of yoga. One who is not self controlled and whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. Therefore, in Brahannaradya Purana, it is said that in Kali Yuga, the present yuga or age, when people in general are short lived, slow in spiritual understanding, and always disturbed by various anxieties, the best means of spiritual realization is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Right? Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagyo Hi Upadrita. Right? So this is like in the Kali Yuga, this is the certification that is given. Manda Sumanda Matayo, and then Manda Bhagya, and Upadrita. It's always disturbed, and then people are very dull headed that they cannot get to the spiritual realization so easily, right? So we may see that people are very intelligent in the world and they are doing so much of scientific advancement and things like that, but the scriptures call it as manda buddhi. So they cannot get Krishna consciousness, they cannot think in Krishna consciousness, so it's like manda buddhi, right? And so that is why in this age the best process that is mentioned is the holy name of the Lord, because it is the highest dose of medicine that is possible. Right? If the disease is very, very acute, then we'll give the highest, biggest dose of medicine, because this holy name is very, very powerful. And except for holy name, nothing else can do anything in this Kali Yuga. Right? So that's other processes, meditation and things like that. No, the first step only, like people would have, people will get back. No, you have to go to a secluded place and you have to do all these austerities. They'll say like, no, I'm not there. No, I don't want to do it. So, but the holy name is so accessible and so very powerful that it can, cleanse anyone's heart. Right? कि Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. Nasteva, right? So, na asti. No, nasti means like na asti. No, asti means like it's there, and na asti means it's not there. It's like, so, kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyata. So like it's there is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way other than the chanting the names of the Lord. For deliverance in this age. Okay, text 13 and 14. Samam kayo shiro grivam darayanna chalam stiraha sampreksha nasikhagram swam dishaschan valokayan prashantatma vigatabir brahmachari vrate stitah manas samyamya machitto yukta asita matparaha. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. So this is the Ashtanga Yoga process. It's like So anybody who hears this, the initial description, they'll say like, no, I'm not going to go and do this. Purport: the goal of life is to know Krishna, who is situated within the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu and not for any other purpose. The localized Vishnu Murti is the plenary representation of Krishna dwelling within one's heart. One who has no program to realize this Vishnu Murti is uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and is certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and the Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe complete abstinence from sex life. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in a secluded place, remaining seated or as mentioned above. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home or elsewhere and attend a so-called yoga class and thus become a yogi. It's not possible. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of celibacy written by great sage Yajnavalkya, it is said, Karmana manasa vacha sarva vastasu sarvada sarvatra maituna tyago brahmacharyam prachakshate. So, what is brahmacharya? It's mentioned here. The vow of brahmachari is meant to help one completely abstain from sex indulgence in work, words, and mind at all times, under all circumstances, in all places. Right. So that is the this one of brahmacharya. So one of the definitions of brahmacharya. The primary definition of brahmacharya is brahmacharati. No, one's senses should always be engaged in Krishna's service. Automatically, like this thing is attained. Right. Okay, so no one can perform correct yoga practice through sex indulgence. Brahmacharya is taught, therefore, from childhood when one has no knowledge of sex life. Children at the age of 5 are sent to Gurukula or the place of the spiritual master, and the master trains the young boys in strict discipline of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make advancement in any yoga, whether it be dhyana, jnana, or bhakti. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, having a sexual relationship only with his wife, and that also under regulation, is also called a brahmachari, right? So he is not for the purpose of sense gratification. He is not uniting. He is uniting only for the purpose of begetting a Krishna conscious children, and no, that also like no on a regulated basis, as advised by the scriptures. So then such a controlled householder is also called as a brahmachari, right? So because his sex indulgence is not unrestricted, but it is regulated based on scriptures. So then, he's following the instructions of scriptures. Then he is also called as brahmachari, right? So such a restrained householder brahmachari may be accepted in the bhakti school, but the jnana and dhyana schools do not even admit householder brahmacharis. Right? So in the other yogas, if you have to practice, even a householder cannot do it. No. So, but bhakti yoga, this is possible. So they require complete abstinence without compromise. In Bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of Bhakti yoga is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction being engaged in the superior service of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 259, it is said, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. No, this is like Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. So like it's param drishta nivartate. Like when we get the superior taste, so then automatically the lower taste actually goes off. No, that's the this one. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification. A devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of superior taste. No other than the devotee, no one has any information of that superior taste. Vigata bihi. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully in Krishna consciousness. So we had often discussed this definition of fear. Fear, bhayam dvitiyad abhiniveshatasya ishad apetasya viparyoyo mukha. So means if we are having our face turned away from Krishna, and then no, we are able to see things which are not connected to Krishna. So I'm able to see things in this world and I'm seeing, okay, this is something different from Krishna. So then, no, immediately I must be fearful, no, or I have a potential of becoming fearful, no. So I cannot avoid fear. So, but when I see everything is part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is my best well-wishing friend, Suhridam Sarvabhutana. So then from there the fear will come. But everything that exists is Krishna's energy, and he is my best well-wishing friend. No, what will he do? No, even if somebody is coming to hurt me, no, even his intelligence, his bodily strength, everything is supplied by Krishna. And Krishna is best well-wishing friend of mine. What is he going to do? So there is no fear that comes in the heart of a person who understands things in Krishna consciousness, right? So, but then a person who's not Krishna conscious, then he has to be fearful. A conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. And the Bhagavatam 11:237 says, Bhayam dvitiyad abhinivesha tashyad, ishad apetasya viparyoyo smritihi. Krishna consciousness is the only basis of fearlessness. There is, therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see the Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principles of the yoga system mentioned herein are different from those of the popular so called yoga societies. Okay, so with this, we will get to the next book. We'll stop here. Okay, so we were reading this, our family business book, written by His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, a very, very, very dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And okay, so there is a question. Can you spare some time to give real life examples of everyday material life for people like us? How not to have attachment to fruits of our activities. Example, I helped an old couple in need during peak COVID, and when things opened, I politely told them to be now independent like they were before, and I may not be able to continue. It was not taken in good spirit. It did disturb me. I'm unable to think how I was attached. I did not offer help with any expectation of fruits of action. Yeah, like the fruits can be, like what all things can be our fruits of action is that yeah, I do something and then people remunerate me uh, by the way of some physical vastu. So that is one kind of attachment to the fruits. I'm doing this. What will you do back to me? And then another thing is no puja la pratishta, and then means like people should recognize I have did something great, and then people should actually acknowledge that I have did something great. So even that is also expectation of the fruit. So when we get dishonor from somebody, so then we get disturbed. That means we were expecting honor. No, we were expecting that they should appreciate for whatever I have done, or no, or I've done something significant. That itself is a this one that we should always feel that no, I should have done much more, but I'm not able to. So, and then if somebody says yes, yes, no, you should have done much more, like you have not done sufficient. So they say okay, fine, anyway, that's my understanding also, I'm very sorry. So it's okay, like we would take it in that way. So yeah, so another aspect is we can feel that no, I should have done much more, so it is my fault that I'm not able to do. So that is also okay. No, that kind of thought is also okay. And then we should continue on in our Krishna consciousness, and Krishna will take care of the rest. So we should do our best, and then we should leave it to Krishna for the rest. And sometimes, yeah, like these difficulties would come, and it's not that a Krishna conscious person does not at all feel anything bad. So he also feels sometimes the hurt, but then the important aspect is he very quickly falls back onto the Krishna conscious state, and he very quickly he again enters into blissful state. So sometimes, yeah, we can it's like if it is an effect based on they should have at least acknowledged me that I did something good for them. So then it is attachment to the fruits. But if the feeling bad is that I could have done something better, I could have extended little more help, but I'm not able to. And if I'm feeling bad about my inability for helping, so then it's like little higher sense. It is good. So that kind of a feeling bad is not bad at all. No, that's good. Okay, so we will read a little bit portion from the other book. So this is no Vaisheshik Kapoor was mentioning how he took off in the service of book distribution, like back in 1970s, and he's sharing his realization in this. So this we are entering into the chapter 3 of this book, that is apply the order. In this chapter, I recount how Srila Prabhupada applied his spiritual master's order to print and distribute transcendental books. I also tell how he gave the same order to his own disciples and their disciples by applying and passing down this order become eligible for Krishna's full mercy in perpetuity. You know, because Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so he wanted these books to be distributed, and Srila Prabhupada also had the same aim, and then he passed it on to his next generation. And in this way, like by doing this book distribution, we will all get Krishna's full mercy. Okay, Lord Krishna's order descends directly from him through the unbroken medium of disciplic succession, parampara. Thus, one who applies the order is at once connected to Krishna's internal energy. In this Kali Yuga, Lord Krishna appears in the form of his own devotee, Bhakta Rupa, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu ordered everyone to become Guru and spread Krishna's teachings to others. By applying the order received from one's Guru in the line of Mahaprabhu, one attains the spiritual potency to achieve uncommon success in this life and next. Srila Prabhupada points to the profound result he attained by applying his spiritual master's order. The present Krishna conscious movement, this is direct words of Srila Prabhupada. The present Krishna conscious movement was started with belief in the words of our spiritual master. He wanted to preach. We believed in his words and tried somehow or other to fulfill them. And now this movement has become successful all over the world. So I think sometimes that why this wonderful thing has happened to me. So I search out only that I had 100% belief in the words of my spiritual master. That's all, nothing else. Don't think of any nonsense. Simply execute what your guru has said. That is success. Srila Prabhupada also records the explicit reasoning behind his Guru's order in a letter to Shrutadev Das, dated October 27, 1974. He, he personally instructed me that books are more important than big temples. At Radhakund, he told me that since constructing the big marble temple at Bagh Bazaar, there have been so many difficulties. Our men are envious over who will live in which room. I think it would be better to take off all the marbles and sell them and print books. He told me this personally, so I am always emphasizing book distribution. So this is a personal instruction Srila Prabhupada got, from his spiritual master, right? So that after building a very palatious temple, so the devotees started fighting for the rooms. So then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told that no, better sell off all this marbles and then print books, and in this way we will do some preaching, right? So, what's more, Srila Prabhupada wrote in a letter to Keshav Das on January 1, 1972, that anyone who takes up the order to distribute his transcendental literature receives the special mercy of Krishna. And you are all helping me to fulfill the order which Guru Maharaj gave me. So, I am so much grateful to you, and I am sure Krishna will bless you to a million times over for doing this work. So, this is words of Srila Prabhupada again. No, I'll just read this, where Prabhupada is expressing his gratitude for the book distributors. He's telling, and you're all helping me to fulfill the order which Guru Maharaj gave me. So I am so much grateful to you, and I am sure Krishna will bless you a million times over for doing this work. Right? So this is the blessings that all of us are getting, by doing this book distribution. Hare Krishna. So we will stop here, and we will continue again tomorrow. Grantaraj, sorry, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Book Marathon ki jai. Hari Bol.